Picks in the Mix. Finest electroswing, presented by Canavaral.
Swing what you got to save your soul.
Heidi ho, and welcome to Cap's Picks in the Mix. Today I've got an interview with Mr. Michael Fraser, who is touring actually through Europe, and also some live footage of his concert here in Vienna. So enjoy it, have a good time, and keep swinging.
Well, I mean, I was just thrown into making music. There wasn't any ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't remember not making music. Yeah, and I started DJing right before I started going to high school, and then it just became so obvious as I was growing up that I had to blend my violin with the beats. I mean, the gypsy sound came naturally to me, just with the emotional insides that I have, right? So, a lot of different emotional expression, a lot of pain that I need to express can come out in a musical way, and that's, I think, where the gypsy sound comes naturally to me. I don't have any connections that I know of, but I'm still looking. So
It's more a mental connection.
you never know, right?
Yeah. If there are some.
Yeah, well, with that EP, I was trying to combine a few different styles together that you wouldn't expect to necessarily be blended.
Yeah.
And especially in Django style, I think the thing that makes it unique is that I played electric bass on it, so it has a little bit more of a funky sound than the stand-up bass would, right? So I tried to take it in a direction where it was gypsy, electro swing, but also with a funk groove.
Yeah.
I think I fell into electro swing, not necessarily something that I chose to fall into, but because I grew up playing swing music and jazz on the violin, and because I also grew up writing and producing beats on the computer as well as DJing, you know, I definitely discovered electro swing and thought, wow, this is definitely something that people would expect me to be a part of because of my background. And there's for sure an appeal to me when I listen to some of my favorite electro swing tracks. It has a certain quality about it that everybody can enjoy. You know, you don't have to be a dance club person. You don't have to be, you know, young. You can be someone who's old and still enjoy the music. It's refreshing for a style of music to come out that is electronic based, that also can appeal to people who don't necessarily listen to electronic music. And that's something I've always tried to do with my music, so electro swing was a natural fit for me. But something that I'm very excited to see with electro swing, because I feel new in the community, is I'm excited to see it grow and develop and see what happens with the style, because it's very, very young, and hopefully over time, the more people that are doing it, the more interesting ideas that are going to come to the forefront, and I'm really excited to see how it changes over the years. Enzo Cifredi, yeah, that's one of my favorite producers in the tech electro swing genre, as well. Manometer is definitely someone who I've connected with and got to know his music quite a bit. I'll be playing a track in my set Evening that he wrote, and it's just very, very classy blend between what I would consider French filter house sounding techie garage grooves with the swing samples, and it's exactly what I imagined that one day we could achieve. So yeah, these are some of the people that I've been listening to. Yeah. I think there's a lot more people in Europe that are involved in electro swing as a participant. People who are playing it, people who are in bands that aspire to play electro swing or similar. And in Canada, there's not so much. There's a few DJs in every city, but not that many groups, not that many people involved in participating to grow it. So that's the biggest difference, I think. There's definitely a love for it with people who want to go and listen to it. So there's that. Also, big difference between Canada from US or Europe is that in Canada there's the West Coast and then there's the East Coast, and then there's a lot of nothing in the middle. So so it's not the same when it comes to performing. You know, you have to jump over that middle part in order to get to the next show. So here there's a lot more musicians who are traveling around, and in Canada it's a lot harder to travel around. For this tour, I'm using CDJs at my shows, and I plug the violin right into the whole mixer. Yeah. And yeah, I use all the different effects on my violin and on the mixes on the Pioneer mixer.
So you have no external FX?
No, I
just
have
use the built-in of the Pioneer mixer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a little tricky sometimes. Sometimes I wish I had a third hand. So yeah, it's a little hard to kind of like play something and then make it echo.
Yeah.
But you just kind of figure it out and do. You know, the more practice I get, the easier it is in order to kind of like figure out how to do the different things, what I can do, what I can't do. But it works pretty well, and I definitely like that I can show up with my violin and a USB and plug in and do the whole thing. I started when I was starting DJing. I started on turntables, and originally I wanted to do turntables always with violin, which I love the idea of, and that was how I wanted to perform. And I did perform like that for the first couple of years that I was touring, but. The problem with the turntables is that if there's dust on the needle, if the record isn't working very well, there's so many different moving parts that if something isn't functional, it can make the show really, really, really difficult. So so I decided that because I have the violin, it has to be easy. And for a little bit, I considered using just software and not mixing, just doing automatic and cueing and automatic mixing. But I really love to mix and beat match and blend and choose the songs and have cool transitions. So I decided it was too important to me to be able to be the DJ than to just let the computer do it. So that's why I do CDJs. Yeah, Austria, Germany. I have a few dates in Germany, and a date in Mantova, Italy, and London, Bournemouth, and then back in Austria. When I started to DJ, I was doing scratching and beat juggling and all those turntable things.
Okay.
That was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I took a DJ lesson from somebody along the way, and I was very young, and he said, what do you think about mixing the songs? He's probably thinking, you can have a better career doing that than as a scratch DJ.
Yeah.
And I was, no, I don't. Why would I want to mix songs together? That's boring. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided that it was way better to scratch.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it was just so hard. Just so hard to learn how to do it. And I think I was better than I thought I was. I thought I was crap. But when I listened to some of the old recordings, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of practice, and it's very difficult. Yeah. People definitely don't realize, I think sometimes, because I play violin, that I also have been DJing for a very long time. I think a lot of people think that I can make it, get up with the times and put the DJ mixes into it.
Yeah.
But actually, I've been DJing in one part of my life, and I've been playing violin in another part of my life, and it just so happens that recently they collided, right? It's definitely something that I really enjoy sometimes when I get the opportunity to play a party where I don't play that much violin, and I get to be a DJ, because sometimes even friends that are close to me, or friends that have seen me play, they know I DJ, but then they go, oh, you can actually mix. You know what you're doing with the DJ equipment. It's funny when people react that way, because I think that sometimes people are distracted by the fact that I play violin, and forget that I'm also blending the songs together and making it all happen. But I definitely appreciate the fact that it goes unnoticed, because that is the quality of a mixing DJ. I use samples on every single song that I recorded for this album. I think that samples is a huge component of a lot of music, and the way that it was developed. It's a great starting point, I mean, when you're starting out and playing and creating music, and you can't afford to pay 20 people to play on your album, using samples is a great, easy, and very quick and intuitive way in order to do that. But then there's so many other things that you can do with samples too, and not to mention that samples have a certain quality about them. The original record was made to sound a certain way, using certain equipments in a room, and sometimes that's just what you want. You don't want to have an interpretation of that. You want exactly the way it was. I mean, if you want to have a Beatles sample on your song, you're not going to have someone play the Beatles sample. You're going to sample the Beatles, because their records sound the way they do, not only because of the musicians that played them, even if it was the same musicians that played it in a different room with different microphones and everything. It's not the same as the original recording. So a recording has a certain sound to it, and that's where samples, to me, are they bring quality to the song that you couldn't otherwise have. I mean, I think that some people would definitely consider me a thief, and I think that there's a lot of great music out there that has been carefully stolen. So, there's and then when you look at how culture gets spread out and developed, a lot of the time that's how it's also been developed before sampling was even something that people did, where folks would sit around a campfire and sing a song with the same melody as a different song with their lyrics, or play a song and or write a song and not even realize that it's already been done before. So it's just a little bit more obvious now, I think, than ever. But for me, you know, the most important thing, because actually that the part of what I did with the Gypsy Tech album was I made a point of stealing samples in a very outright kind of way. So there's a lot of people writing music right now with very little bits of samples, or they're changing it so much that you can't recognize it anymore. All of the samples on my album are very recognizable. You can hear exactly what's going on. You know, and some of them are played differently. Some of them are sped up a lot. Some of them are cut in different places so that the arrangement is different than it was otherwise, or there's a looping section that's one part of the song that happens for a moment. But I think the thing that makes in my album that I tried to do to make it unique is that I took the sample and then added all these different layers below it and above it, and so it still sounds like the original song. If you took out the sample, it wouldn't sound like my song anymore. However, what I was trying to do was steal while making it something completely new. Something that, you know, if you played the original song on the dance floor, nobody's dancing. But when you play my version, it's a dance club song. So it's not as simple as just having a beat underneath, but it's not as complicated as completely changing the sample into something different. So I don't know, you know, I guess the question is, if you listen to the original songs and compare them to my album, am I stealing or am I not stealing? That's up to the listener to decide what that really is, and I'd be happy to consider it both. For the next songs that I'm working on a little bit more of the glitch hop sound, but again in my own way.